For more, let's bring in Noble Black, a top real estate agent at Douglas Elliman with more than $3 billion worth of individual sales. Noble, welcome. Good to have you with us. What are you seeing in the sort of bespoke markets in terms of price action and transactions? New York, Hamptons, Miami.
We're seeing it very busy in the luxury segment, especially in the Hamptons and in Miami. New York has been busy. We had a very good end to the spring. It's always a little slow for us in the summer, but we're seeing a busier June, July, and early August than what we saw last year. And I think all of the indications are that we're going to have a good third quarter, but especially fourth quarter once some things are settled.
Some things are settled, namely the election, maybe?
The election, yeah, chiefly. I mean, Miller Samuels did a study going back to the 90s, and then every year for basically the last every election year, there's just a bunch of pent-up demand, and people kind of sit on the sidelines. They seem to be waiting until the election is settled. It doesn't really matter who wins the election, but once that's settled, people come back into the market. And then I think this year, with what's going on with rates, we're going to see, an especially kind of energized dose of that happening.
I thought that some of the areas in Florida, like the Palm Beaches, were slowing down a little bit. Maybe you can walk me through that. And more broadly, is Florida still benefiting from tax flight out of New York, New Jersey, maybe even California?
Yeah, I think it is. And I think that's something that the blue states, keeping politics out of it, but they've got to figure that out. I think New York real estate is going to be somewhat immune to that in the sense that the wealthy are still going to have properties here. But a lot of people are definitely going to either the low or the no income tax states. And that's certainly affecting the tax bases. And certainly outside of the luxury markets, a lot of those people do have to sell their homes when they move. Again, I think Manhattan real estate is going to be a little less directly affected by that. And then in answering your question about Palm Beach and Florida, Palm Beach is still, again, we're at the time of year when they're always slow, but their market's holding up very well. I think they're expecting the rate cut, even though those buyers are not really rate sensitive, to help choose that market. Miami is still doing well, particularly single family waterfront and like large penthouses. The kind of run of the mill new development has definitely slowed somewhat, but it's still not like it's dead. It's not that it's going down. It's just not doing what it's been doing for the last few years.
Yeah, Noble, I'm curious, and I forget which CEO said it a year or so ago, and he said Fridays are dead forever and Mondays are touch and go or something to that effect. Right. We're talking a lot about this as if it's, 5 days in or zero, but what do we know about kind of the hybrid work, the idea that people still may not be going in on Fridays and that sort of thing? I think even for New York, if you kind of zoom out, there's still questions about the economy and some of the small businesses and the transit system that are nowhere near where they used to be.
I think that's right. I mean, I think certainly we've benefited from the fact that people have returned to the office at least, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, some cases 5 days, but certainly it's not 5 days in general. As you say, it's for a lot of people, it's 3 or 4 at most. I think that seems to have done enough that from our standpoint, it's brought New York back. It's still a place that people want to be. When you look at the culture and the shows and the restaurants and all of that, there's still no place that competes with New York. So the office sector in Midtown being busy, I mean, just try to get across town. It's impossible these days. Walk on any sidewalk and the restaurants are packed. Try to get a reservation at 7:30, you can't do it. So we're all seeing that we're in the right place and certainly going in the right direction with that. We need more of that, but I think we're certainly well off of the bottoms of where it was, and certainly not nearly where people feared or projected it would be.
In New York City particularly, what are the hot neighborhoods? Is it still the ones we know about, Williamsburg and Brooklyn, Dumbo, maybe downtown Tribeca, or is it more broad than that?
You want to come work with me? Because you got it. You got the answer. So you know everything. You don't need me here for it. But
wait, tell me. Right. I don't know any of this. Go.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's downtown. So in Manhattan, downtown's still doing very well. So that is going to be certainly the West Village, Tribeca, Soho. In Brooklyn, it's prime Brooklyn, so Brooklyn Heights, Dumbo, Williamsburg. That said, prime Upper East Side, if it's the product that people are wanting, then those are moving very well. The Armani building is all sold out. They only had 10 units. They didn't have a model. They didn't have anything to show, and their prices, going up to $8,000 a foot. And they've sold all of the apartments. It's a great location. It's a great name. And a great product. So, it's not necessarily just the location. It's still a matter of product. It also goes back into people still absolutely don't want to do work. So if something's in need of a renovation, if something's dated, then buyers are just kind of passing on that.